think there's 3 out of the 5 that are fairly straightforward in terms of direction to staff to look at making changes to signage, diversity in the marketing and advertising material and our communications, and this issue around flags. And I think there's more than just the flags, also our issue of half-masting flags and the policy piece. Those 3, I think staff can take those away now. From my perspective, I think there are implications, potential implications for recommendation 2 and 5, that being the sensitivity training and the all-body swim, because it has impacts potentially on resources. So what I might suggest is just a narrowing on the staff report to recommendations 2 and 5, and a supporting principle for our support for the other 3, and let staff take those away, and then do some additional work on 2 and 5. I don't know if that helps or complicates things, but it's worth it.
So, point of clarification, if I may.
Go ahead, please.
Paul, thank you for that. So, when you say take them away, the 3 points, they to implement?
From my perspective, I'm quite comfortable moving forward with council's direction to implement some aspects or versions of, as I said, 1, 3, and 4. Although we'll have to come back perhaps on some policy changes for a discussion at council, but at least start that work. And then 2 and 5, because there are other implications, probably require a bit more work and a report back potentially to the committee
So, thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Mayor, and I think there are speakers list. Is it appropriate to have a motion then to put that forward, or does somebody else want to do that?
Well, there's a motion already, and
I was just going to suggest that I'd be quite happy to modify the wording of the motion to say that we're supportive of 1, 3, and 4, and would like additional information on 2 and 5. Is that all right?
so I'll just take that as a friendly amendment, I think, and no need to second that. I think we're all in agreement there.
Who was the second? Oh.
There was an original seconder on that, I think. Let's just stay on the main motion. So, hands up to Councillor Bryce, and then Sanders, and then Dermott.
I am even more now reminded that complex issues don't have easy solutions. And I want to thank Councillor Plant for bringing these issues forward for us to discuss. I guess why I was supportive of a complete staff report coming back is I think we're all gaining information and we're all learning. And I think one of the things we need to learn is what we're already doing and what we're already doing well. About a year ago, one of our neighboring communities had some pretty high-profile issues around the community, and that gave me an opportunity to have some discussions with our own Parks and Recreation staff. There are some pretty neat things happening, pretty good programs. I was hoping that such a report would allow us to showcase those as well, also for bring us all up to speed on things such as all-body swims. And so in the interests of getting sort of efficient, I don't want us to lose some pieces of this, because I think it is quite more holistic. We can order 100 signs tomorrow and slap them all over the community. It can mean something, or it can be tokenism. If it follows after doing a number of things, and then we've come to a point where we are confident that we have the whole concept embraced by our community and our staff, and then you put up some signage. To me, it's meaningful. So I'm sort of torn here because I think it's way more complex than just picking things off and doing, quick and easies. I think that the motion that's on the floor will allow us to sort of pull all the threads together, and ultimately we'll see the whole story. But I think each of these things are in an odd way kind of interwoven, and so I would have preferred to see the total package.
Thank you. Councillor Sanders?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also would like to see the total package. And I think this is worth doing it upright, to really look at what we're doing, what we can do, and look at it more wholesomely. I don't come to this table uninformed. I've been a member of St. Ignace Church for almost my whole life, and I would say more than 25 years, maybe 30 years, we've had this, we've struggled with this issue, and it wasn't called LGBTQ at that time, but it was about the community of gays and lesbians, etc. And we have struggled through that church, and people have left because of it, and people have come because of it, and have been very supportive. In the last 5 years, we struggled to become an affirming church, and what that means is that all the literature says that we're affirming, and that means that we're welcoming to the LBG, I never get it right, BTQ community. We have transgender people in our congregation. We have a man who is now a woman, and he is still transing, and the whole congregation has been supportive, and he's not the only one. I have gay and lesbian friends. We have gay clergy. So I'm informed when we come to this, so I know of the issues they've had, but I also know there is a big supportive community out there, and there are some that are not. So I would like to see if we in Saanich are going to support this, the same as we've done at St. Ignace Church. We didn't do it overnight. It takes time, because we're going to do it right. So the community will feel that we honestly are welcoming them. Not just tokenism, because we can order flags up tomorrow and throw up them all over the place if we want. That's not truly genuine saying we welcome you and you're part of our community. So that's why I would prefer that we do this properly, wholesomely, and I do say that, as I said in the beginning, there's other people in the community that perhaps don't feel comfortable and welcome as well. And with this review of how we treat people and our community, maybe it will be more wholesome and we'll be better for it. So those are my opinions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Dermott, thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would also favor a comprehensive report dealing with all the items in front here. And I hope I didn't infer to Councillor Plant, speaking earlier, that the group involved in the subcommittee aren't subject to some prejudice and some difficulties in society. There's no question but that they are. But there are other groups too. Racism still exists substantially in our society. We had a significant incident in my neighborhood last week. It was reported to the North Quadra Association. My wife is a director and discussed it with me. There are issues of religious intolerance in our community, unfortunately, but it still exists. I want to make sure that the signage that we ultimately come up with is indicative that in Saanich we are welcoming to all those particular groups, and that we are not tolerant of discrimination of any of them based on their ethnicity, their religious beliefs, as long as they are not dangerous, or their particular sexual inclination. That, I think, needs careful thought about exactly how we want to indicate that to the community. And I'm not ready to do a quick and rapid response at this time, because I don't think it serves us well. I think it's very important that we make sure that we get across that certainly this group, but any other group that suffers problems of discrimination in our society is welcome in Saanich facilities. And I think it's very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I've got two more speakers on the list. We've spent a lot of time talking about the issue itself and less about the report, but I think it's been useful for our staff to hear this before they get a better sense of what needs to be brought back. Councillor Haynes and then Councillor Murdoch, and then I hope we can call a question. And then Councillor Burton. Go ahead, Councillor.
I really appreciate the comments from Councillor Bryce and Councillor Dermott, but I was understanding that this motion had 3 items, 1, 3 and 4, going off with staff, and Paul, our CAO, said they would bring back some recommendations, which is like a mini report to council on those items. But the other 2 items, the sensitivity training on your body swim may take more time to prepare those reports. So I was envisioning 2 reports that would come back. That was what I thought was agreeing, we were agreeing to. I didn't see it that there would be no report on any of this, and that I don't think it was just to slap something up. That wasn't the intent. I think Paul let us know, perhaps Paul can clarify, that those items 1, 3 and 4, that you would have been bringing back something to council, recommendations and how that goes forward, but that would be in a more timely manner than the other 2 items. And it's not only about sexual inclination, it's about sexual identity. They're 2 different things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just in response, I may have misread some of the discussion at council. I was getting the sense that there was a relatively strong support for 3 of the 5 recommendations, just purely as they're stated. And so my comments were aligned with moving forward with those 3. There may be some policy changes that would have to come back to council, but it wasn't intent to divide it into, my intent wasn't to divide it into 2 reports. It seems clear that the discussion's more along the lines of a broader understanding of some of the fundamentals to this, and a comprehensive report might be the more appropriate approach. I apologize for complicating the discussion.
Is everyone clear on that? So it sounds like there's a report that's going to come to that committee, right? It's going to go directly to the committee first. It's going to have kind of the low-hanging fruit on it, and some more meaty information to do with some of the more complicated issues that affect our facilities and other things. I've got Councillor Murdoch and Councillor Worland on the last of the speakers on my list. Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you. I appreciate the clarification and the exchange that took place there between Councillor Haynes and our CAO. What I heard is in the explanation and the original suggestion was a comfort in being able to move more quickly, to not hang up what could be an easier implementation for 3 of the 5. And in order to facilitate that, perhaps a report would come forward with the extra 2. I don't want to put any of my colleagues in an uncomfortable position where they don't have the information they need in order to make a decision. So I would be quite comfortable in having the motion say that we would like a staff report with additional information. I think I would be very. I think my comments would be that I take the point on number 1, that the signage is representative of a holistic review and change. I think the issue, particularly around number 3, diversity in our produced material and advertising material using gender-neutral language, to me, that feels like a position that we should be occupying already. I'd be quite concerned if some of our language is not gender-neutral. And then I also hope to see a resolution around the issue of the flags in time for July of this year. I know that if we're going to be taking these things as a whole, there's a very strong likelihood that we're not going to arrive at a conclusion that will allow us to see that take place in July. So I guess I'd be quite happy to modify again what we'd asked for, with the understanding that we're able to see a resolution to some of these pieces quickly, so that we don't miss a possible timeline. I see the clerk with their mic on, so maybe we can hear her perspective on this.
Thank you, through Councillor Murdoch. So the motion that we have considering around the table is basically that staff be requested to prepare a report that would go to the committee to help inform the end product that would then be brought back to council. There was specific reference initially or secondary to items 2 and 5 that would come back, and that there would be a secondary interest in principle for items 1, 3, and 4. In the subsequent discussion, it appears the overall support is for a single report that would cover all 5 items. That Councillor Plant may bring forward something secondary that would respond to the pride and trans flags in time for the July.
I think that was a very tidy summary of a very complicated discussion, so I appreciate that, and if it is okay with council, I'd like to take that as the motion.
Councilor Burton, for a final word.
Thank you very much. I do support the motion, and I'd just like to raise the question again. It's not the signage, it's not the flags, it's not the painted sidewalk that's going to change attitudes. And it's not those things that are going to make these individuals feel a whole lot better. I believe strongly it goes back to the word respectful. And I think that's the word we have to put out more than the sidewalks, the flags, and all the other. And maybe we haven't done enough on that word. I'd encourage that. Also, I'd like to ask Colin, I just got a funny feeling that there's more to come. And rather than this whole taking on a life of itself for the next 6 months, I wonder if we could go back to the committee and ask, are there other things that you have concerns about, so we can address the whole package at once? I realize there will be other areas that will come on, but if in the back of their minds, they're just giving a little bit at a time, I'd rather have it all out there. If you know what I mean?
It's up to you if you want to reply, Councilor.
Yeah, I'll be very brief. The policy that we were under the understanding of is advisory committees and subcommittees make recommendations to council. I think certainly with the LGBTQ community, the most prominent issue is that of issues that are around visibility in the community, and recreation centers are a hot button, as Councillor Bryce referred to the situation down at Crystal Pool. The committee did not submit many motions, if any, in the last 2 meetings. There is going to be a final report that will come forward. So I think that what you've asked for, I think if something emergent comes forward, they would send that forward. But I heard what you said, and the idea of a final report with a series of recommendations coming forward might be a way that you would appreciate that. That's certainly what I heard from you. So thank you for that feedback. I've heard it.
Any more discussion? I think I'll reserve my comments for the report. I think I want to stay neutral on this. And I've got, the council passed a motion before. I think it was a motion to create this committee. And the committee is going to come back with the Rumsfeld badge, the known knowns, the known unknowns, the unknown unknowns, right? I just need the committee to do its best to bring to our attention what it thinks it needs, or what the community needs, I should say. And so on that basis, I'm very supportive of whatever they bring forward. I just want to make sure that they have the resources that they need, and that we're making the best use of council time and committee time to get things accomplished. So with that, I'll call a question on the motion. All in favor? Opposed? None opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, so that completes the public portion of our agenda. And so we need to move in camera, and I'd ask for a motion to go in camera with sections 91A of the community charter. Moved by Councilor German, seconded by Councilor Hayes. I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? None opposed? That motion carries.